The Ashes of Creation community scares me. Given the literal thousands of Ashes-specific content creators, their aggressive fanbase, and the rose-colored glasses that many of them wear, I'm afraid to say anything critical about this upcoming MMORPG project. I don't know if it's the massive amounts of copium leaking from the official forums and Wikipedia, or just a very vocal minority. It's hard to find any info about the game, its systems, that are not tainted with the "this will be the next big thing" or "this will be the future of MMOs." So before I go too far into this video, I want everyone to know I am very hopeful for Ashes. It's in fact very high up on my list of future potential MMOs to play. I purchased the $500 Kickstarter package way back when, a few skins, and even got myself a hat that was overly worn. So keep that in mind when I start to express some of my worries for the future of this game, and know they are coming from a place of improvement and fixing any potential issues that will ensure a strong future for this title. Ashes of Creation is an upcoming MMORPG by Intrepid Studios. Set in the backdrop of high fantasy, players will venture into a vast new world to explore and tame the wilderness. Ashes of Creation's foundational node system means nearly the entirety of the world is built by player choice and actions. No two-player experiences will feel the same. Every server ebbs and flows with its own unique story and character, all based on player choice. The team at Intrepid Studios is aiming for 8,000 to 10,000 concurrent users per server. Obviously, the number of servers that exist in a region are going to be dependent on the population that's playing. At least in the alpha versions of the game, we saw servers broken down into regions: US East, US West, EU East, and EU West. Since the mid-2000s, we have seen many MMOs come and go. Server populations rise and fall, new servers added and servers taken down. This is just a part of the MMO ecosystem when using a server infrastructure. And while it may be frustrating to sit in a long queue time, I don't think that can even compare to the potential nuclear bomb that we may see when you start adding in Ashes node system. Separating the game's population has many pros and cons. For me, nothing felt more exciting than making a name for myself on a server, going out into the world and coming across people working on similar goals or helping others out just to meet them back again at the local tavern or quest hub. Even the most insidious players could gain recognition by killing others in PvP endlessly. Then the strong guild from the opposing faction would show up and defend those players. This was social MMO gaming at its peak. Gaining a level of familiarity or even infamy on your server was part of the initial old school draw that brought me into online gaming in the first place. This server architecture worked great in the early 2000s and 2010s, but started to fall off as more and more specialized and niche MMOs were released, feeding the MMO locust swarm and leaving servers dead and barren. Now imagine with me for a moment. Ashes of Creation is finally released. Many years of hype, all culminating in the release of one of the best MMOs gamers have seen in decades. Hundreds of thousands of players all joining up together to carve their names into this new world of Vera, specifically crafted to allow players to leave their mark on the world. It's just absolutely perfect in every way. You have grinded out hundreds, thousands of hours and have really left your mark. Now, for whatever reason, whether the game was too niche for some, you didn't plan your server choice out with PhD levels of precision, or simply the hype starts to wear off for some others for who knows why, you are left on a server with a dwindling population. The Ashes developers have stated that they intend to carefully manage server populations via the use of character creation throttles to avoid the need to merge servers. There may be queues to get into high population servers, but the aim is to avoid excessively long queues. As someone who has played pretty much any non-mega server MMO in the last decade could attest, populations drop in every title, weeks, months, or maybe even years if you're lucky after the release date. So what are nodes and how do they exponentially increase the issue? Margaret Crone, the community marketing lead, describes nodes as the heart of the world. They create the ebb and flow of life. At their core, nodes are preset points in the world, wrapped in a zone of influence and surrounded by geographic areas that change over time based upon player participation. The world map is divided into regions, with each region containing multiple nodes. As a node advances, it influences the type of content within itself and the surrounding area. Players do not create nodes, but if they are part of the government for a specific node, they have the ability to influence diplomacy and modify building types, construction, and services within the node. There will be 103 node locations at launch, each with its own impact on the narrative and development of the world. Now, if these nodes are truly what they say they will be, and every server truly ebbs and flows with its own unique story and character, all based on player choice, imagine spending hundreds of thousands of hours investing into your nodes, your server, carefully crafting a server narrative, and then facing the issue of a dwindling population and potential server merges that are less of an if they will happen and more of a when they will happen. In Ashes, your player identity is not just locked to your character, but also the nodes on your server and how you have previously interacted with them. Players will find themselves either having to re-roll, transfer servers, or merge into a larger population server and having to accept their history and identity, which very well may not align with yours. This is a big problem and it needs to be addressed. Now, I'm not that smart, personally. I don't have a perfect solution to this. The only one I could really come up with was possible merging servers that have developed different nodes. So you could kind of, like a puzzle, piece them together and keep parts of each different server. But with 103 nodes at launch and an aim to have 10,000 concurrent players per server, I'm not sure how feasible that would be. So why am I making this video and not providing answers? Well, for the views, of course. Actually, in all seriousness, I do still believe that the MMO community is smart and through intelligent conversation and discussion can come up with solutions to these problems, and whether I am just being naive or hopeful, I think it's better that we tackle them now, rather than waiting for the issues to arise later down the line. So what do you think? Am I completely off base in having these worries? Is the Ashes community kind enough to just not flame me in the comments? I'm not sure. I would love to hear a developer discuss how they plan to tackle these in depth and not just saying, server population is something we will keep a close eye on. I look forward to hearing more from the team at Intrepid, as well as participating in the future alpha and beta tests with all of you. Make sure you join the Discord, as we'll be discussing Ashes to a great extent, as well as many other MMO titles. Not to mention planning guilds and more. As always, my name is Spun, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.